Hey guys, you guys excited for game day? Come on, I really can't see because I have these blue light glasses on and the light's shining, so I can't see any of you. But I'm really excited because today we are going to be talking about how we can help our students get discipled and take their next step. How many of us know that if you are a leader in the room, our job is to help our students take their next step, right? Not only is our goal to get them saved, but we also want them to grow. We don't want them to stay spiritual infants all of their life. We want them to begin to experience all that God has for them. So this whole entire month, we're going to be unpacking each week how to shepherd our students in their next step. And so today specifically, I'm going to be hitting on water baptisms, how we can help our students take that step and get water baptized. I was actually specifically in middle school when I decided to get water baptized. I was actually in 7th grade, and at this season of my life, I remember so specifically that I was trying to find my acceptance through my friends and my relationships, and I was trying anything and everything to fit in with culture. I know that's the case here for a lot of our middle schoolers. That's kind of the challenge that they're facing. And so in this season of my life, I had this pivoting point where I began to wrestle and really ask myself, am I all in with God? And I knew that I needed to take that next step and get water baptized. Now, we know that water baptism is an outward expression of what has happened inwardly when you've given your life to Jesus, right? You are sharing in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and you are having a public declaration that Jesus is the Lord of your life. And so I began to process this out with my mom when I was in 7th grade. And I remember I just was like, you know what? I'm done living for the world. I'm done, just being a Christian on Sundays and just being a Christian because that's what my family's telling me, you know what I mean, that's just how we need to live. I decided, you know what, I'm going to be all in with Jesus for myself. And my mom was that person that I got to process that out with. And so in 7th grade, I got water baptized. And I want you guys to see here what had shifted in my heart when I decided to take that next step. A year later, I was in 8th grade. We were all going on a field trip to Washington, D.C., and I was in a hotel room with 3 of my other friends who did not know the Lord. And we were all there, and the topic of Jesus came up. I think it was because we were in a hotel, and there was a Bible sitting inside of the drawer, because there's Bibles in every drawer of a hotel. And so the topic of Jesus came up, and what I want you to know about the 7th grade Mariah, before she got water baptized, she probably wouldn't have said much. But now that I knew, wait a minute, I have taken this next step to be all in with Jesus. I'm all in with him. He is the Lord of my life. I am not ashamed. And that moment I began to share with my friends who Jesus was. And do you know, 8th grade Mariah, again, middle school Mariah, began to lead every single one of them into a salvation prayer, and they decided to give their life to Jesus right there. And now I say this to you not to pat 8th grade Mariah on the back. Again, I really want to preface, she was still in middle school. She was very immature. Like, I didn't go to Bible school. I wasn't hyper spiritual. It was just a middle schooler who had fallen in love with the grace of God. And I decided, you know what? I am going to be all in with Jesus. Game over. And so I tell you this story because that is my prayer and that is my hope for every single student that walks through these doors. The students that you get the honor and privilege to disciple every single week. My prayer is that we would begin to actually pray out a supply of the Spirit for their future, for their life, that they would be so compelled in their heart that they would say, you know what? I'm done trying to find my acceptance in middle school. I'm done trying to please everybody and try to fit in, but I'm going to be all in with Jesus, and I'm going to make this public declaration to say, you know what? Jesus is the Lord of my life. And let me tell you something will shift in their heart, in their character, at their home life when they take that next step. Because how many of us know we want them to experience all that God has for them? So I have 3 quick little points for us of how we can go about this conversation. Now, I know that I'm a broken record, but we do have the starting point booth over there. We literally have a QR code that you can hand your students to help them process this out. Also, on your shepherding report, this helps you actually identify which students in your groups need to take this next step so that you can have those intentional conversations. So this is the 3 points that I have for us to go about these conversations. Ready? Point number 1. I want you to ask them this question. What do you think your next step is? I want you to ask them that. Right away, we automatically think, okay, if we want our students to take this next step, then we automatically just gotta, sit them all down and preach to them about water baptisms for a good 15 minutes. No, right? We wanna listen 80% of the time, and we wanna talk 20%. And so what I encourage you is your first question to ask them is, what do you think your next step is? Let them process this out. Let them actually begin to think to themselves, what is my next step? How can I be all in with God? Number 2, ask them, what does water baptism mean to you? I don't know about you, but I think it'd be pretty fun to ask a middle schooler, what does water baptism mean? And when they respond, I don't want you to listen to try to come back with another response, but I want you to actually hear them. Hear what they're saying. What does water baptism mean to them? Because this sparks a conversation amongst your groups that helps them dialogue between each other. And now, obviously, we want you to use your wisdom, your biblical knowledge, so that you can put your input and provide scripture for your group. But begin to ask them that question. What does water baptism mean to you? Number 3, and this is our last one, take the moment and encourage them that God has more for them and call out what you see. This is a big thing for me, because I truly believe that we are ministering to those who will one day minister to us. And that's a crazy concept. And so what I want you guys to do in your groups, and I know it's game day today, and so I'm saying from a scale of like, okay, this month, next month, these are the things that we're processing out. But I want you to look at every single student that you have the honor to shepherd, and I want you to ask God, what do you see in them? What are the gifts that you've placed inside of them? What do I love about them? Because I'm telling you, you are ministering to future pastors, future missionaries, future ministers. This next generation that is going to rise up, we get the honor and privilege to shepherd and help them and guide them into their next step. And so I encourage you guys, those 3 things, just begin to help have dialogue in your group, not just preaching about water baptisms and trying to tell them what they need to do. We want this to be their decision, that they're saying, you know what? I want to make this decision apart from what my parents say or apart from our small group leaders. They're making the decision to say, you know what? I share in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. That is their decision, and we want to help them shepherd and to take that next step, because I can tell you this. The same God who shifted my heart when I took that next step and I began to walk with a different kind of pace when I was walking in middle school is the same God that wants to shift every single one of our students' hearts inside of this room to begin to walk at a different pace with a different kind of wisdom, with a different kind of grace when they're walking through their schools. Do you guys believe that? So I encourage you, guys, please begin to process this out. We're not here just to clock in and clock out for small groups, but let's shepherd our students in their next steps so that they can grow. We can put on a song of